slots and 118 progressive tables, the most in the West. And our exclusive new high-limit lounge, The Enclave, plus new luxury shops and casino bars. From the elegant to the extraordinary. Experience a new thrill today with even more to come. Only at San Manuel Casino. Details at sanmanuel.com. Must be 21 to enter the casino. Please gamble responsibly.
Are you interested in voice you hear call your name, that strange light in the sky that disappears when you point it out. Are they actually there? I have been interested in the paranormal since I was a child, having had my own fair share of experiences. And other people have shared their first-hand experiences with me over the years as well, maybe looking for answers. I started SOS Paranormal to record, investigate, and share this area of interest so that all of you can experience this too. So please join me at Chilling True Tales for real experiences from real people. Now, are you ready?
In 1952, Wayne Phillips was a reporter for the New York Times and was attending Columbia University's Russian Institute. It was here that Phillips was approached by a representative of the CIA. A man offered to insure Phillips a posting in Moscow if he were to agree to be helpful to the agency while there. Phillips was wary of the offer and expressed his doubts on an American journalist cooperating with the clandestine intelligence agency. The representative attempted to put Phillips' doubts to rest by mentioning that the CIA had a working relationship with the Times' then publisher, Arthur Hayes Sulzberger, and had other reporters on their payroll. It wouldn't be until 1973, when documents were revealed during the Church Committee investigations into the activities of the CIA, that the public would begin to learn just how the CIA was utilizing these reporters as foreign assets in their war of ideologies. This case file join the theorists as they open your eyes to the secret world of spy guys in Operation Mockingbird.
Theorizing case file 204 Operation Mock.
Yeah.
Ing.
Yeah.
Bird.
Yeah.
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 Mockingbird. Don't everybody have you heard?
Have you heard?
She's gonna buy me a mockingbird.
She's gonna buy me a mockingbird.
And if that mockingbird don't sing, she gonna buy me a diamond ring.
Diamond ring!
I'm Braden.
I'm Zell.
I'm Dan.
And I'm Andrew.
That was a magnificent rendition.
Yeah. Fantastic.
To say the
kudos.
least.
It's fucking 2 parts of the Purple Wizards here. 2 parts of the Purple Wizards. What do you want from us? We're
Yeah.
professionals. Come on.
But you just outed us. We're supposed to be like Daft Punk.
They know.
Well,
They've heard these sultry voices before. They can recognize them.
Daft
Get
Punk
it.
has released songs though.
You guys are definitely daft.
So I thought we were on Spotify. Did they drop us too off that? They dropped the Purple Whiz?
They got rid of everything affiliated with any
They
member
dropped
of
the
the show.
Purple Whiz. Dude, God damn it, Dan. You had to say all those racist things and get us kicked off Spotify? God damn it.
What
Doing
the
that horse
fuck?
murmur. Just couldn't keep quiet about it, eh?
Extremely hot takes. Too hot to handle.
I got 1 second. There's some fucking bullshit going on here.
Oh, no. Oh, no.
Oh, what the fuck?
The following announcement has been paid for by alien theorists Illuminati.
They're back.
You didn't know? Your ass better call somebody! Braden, Zell, Dan, Andrew, Byron, Scotty. Holy
Mr.
cow,
Ass.
there's no way you guys making money on this podcast. You guys got enough people
Billy
on here. Why don't you
fucking
get some
Gunn.
more people? Maybe hire some aliens or something. No, but really, hey, it's Badass Billy Gunn. Hey, I want to congratulate you on 200 episodes of your podcast. This is actually sent to me, to send to you, to send to everybody from ATI. Yes,
guys.
he is congratulating you also on 200 episodes. I guess he's an alien theorist, whatever you call those things. But anyway, congrats, guys. Maybe one day you'll make this podcast good and put Badass Billy Gunn on there because I make things better. And yeah, Mr. Conspiracy, suck dick.
That's hilarious.
Well, you heard it. The guy said it. It's bad.
Suck it, conspiracy. Suck it. That's funny. Oh, dude.
Conspiracy's gonna love that shout out.
I guarantee
Honestly?
you, Conspiracy is having flashbacks of his childhood of all the suckets he got growing up.
Honestly, is it bad that I'm a little envious that he didn't give me the suck it?
No, not.
I'm like, oh, I kind
I
of.
mean, hey, I'm gonna be honest here. That's the OG Cheeks. That's your
Yeah.
fucking mentor brain.
that's Big Daddy Cheeks right there.
That's
Cheeks.
Mr. Ass.
Yeah.
That's big.
His finisher was the famouser.
We got
This guy's
ourselves
such
a secret society that somehow just gets wrestlers to send us messages. That's
WWE's.
that's what they're up to.
Maybe the ATI is like maybe they're wrestlers.
alien wrestlers.
I mean, we did have Raven on the show
Briefly,
for briefly,
real brief.
real briefly.
It's still fucking cool though.
It was still sweet. I
That's
just-
cool.
We never really followed up. I'm sure we could get him back, but
Badass Billy Gunn. That's dope.
So dope.
Well, thanks ATI for that.
Yeah.
but stop.
User abuse.
I've had enough of the computer hacks.
Yeah, they shut me down in after hours last week too.
They just I get a video pop up, and everything is controlled remotely, and they just take over my screen. And I don't appreciate
Some
it.
we got some high tech.
What if the
hackers out
fucking,
there.
is it the Ranimatron? Is he running ATI?
Maybe he. Well, it's not a he. It's an it.
She?
It's
It? I don't
it's an
know.
entity.
I don't know. Yeah.
Listen, I might have to give a call over to Hysteria 51, see if that's their fucking conspiracy bunker over there. Rein that motherfucker in, because we're not gonna have that shit, no robotic shit here. They better rein Seabot in, because if he's fucking traversing over,
No,
we're gonna
that shit ain't
have
gonna
legal
fly.
battles.
Yeah. Anyways, I guess I'm back now. So
Brent, John, this is your notice. You've been served.
all right, back to the case file. There we go.
Let's Operation Mockingbird. This is an interesting one. Well, they're all interesting ones, but this one's one of those ones where it's like, you know, trust thy government, and then the
Were they all
government is.
interesting? We talked about a lighthouse one time. That one fucking sucks.
I love the lighthouse one.
What's that guy's name again?
Colin, he sucked. Yeah, yeah.
Fucking
Come on,
Colin.
Colin.
We didn't forget Colin.
Yeah, I think we forgot.
We didn't forget.
But this is one of those ones where it's like, you know, you point, or like I point to looking into when people are like, yeah, you know, the government comes out and says this. I'm like, well, you know,
They also
you know, they wouldn't do it. It's illegal. They wouldn't do this. Well, it's like, well, you're about to find out that, you know, sometimes with unlimited, like blank check and no oversight, just do whatever the fuck they want.
Get
So
shit
without
done.
further ado, let's get into it.
So if you're talking about Project or Operation Mockingbird, it's actually two separate things. So you have Project Mockingbird and you have Operation Mockingbird. Now, Project Mockingbird refers to a telephone tapping of two news journalists from syndicated news column by the CIA in 1963. Now, we didn't find out about the actual tapping of the phones until there was a declassification of about 700 pages of a report that came out during the Church Committee investigation, which we've talked about before. The Church Committee was the big investigation that brought things like MK Ultra, like Midnight Climax, like all the crazy shit that the CIA did back in there.
Brought a little oversight.
Yeah,
Reined in a
kind
bit.
of said, why are we guys giving you all this money and what have you been doing with it? And all of this shit isn't completely insane.
Basically, it was. What do you mean you want to look at our books?
Yeah, pretty much.
Dude, it's always long after either these guys are long retired or most of them are deceased. Like that's when all the shit comes out.
This 700-page report, if you want to read the original one, is published like on the CIA website. It was, people have requested many times. It's also known as the Family Jewels. So it's a big report of all the kind of crazy stuff, documents, testimonies, memos, all of that shit that came out during the Church Committee. And then there's also subsequent investigations after that. So what kicked off the investigation and why the CIA felt like they had to tap these two specific journalists was that the New York Times actually published a front page story about the vulnerabilities of Soviet land-based missiles. The reporter that had published this article was named Harry Baldwin. Now, Harry Baldwin was actually kind of pretty much this dude, from what I read about him, was like an OG.
He's one of the many Baldwin brothers, right? I think the brothers spanned the test of time, right? He's the oldest Baldwin. Is that correct?
No, he's split into the separate Baldwins. Like once he's like,
yeah, he's the one that was in Flintstones, isn't he?
When Alec and then Steven do the fusion dance, they make Harry Baldwin.
From what I learned about Harry Baldwin was very much a well-known figure within the intelligence and defense community in the United States government. Like, they knew about him, they knew what he did. He was a reporter that the New York Times gave him a lot of leeway. He pretty much did whatever the fuck he wanted. It wasn't like he really reported in. He just kind of wrote whatever he wanted. They gave him the leeway to write about whatever he wanted.
He's got diplomatic immunity of journalism.
Pretty much.
Whatever the fuck you want.
He formed a lot of relationships with the higher ups. Like, he was kind of in with just about everybody at the head honchos of the Pentagon. He was really known for never really spending a lot of time with like the smaller people, the really low level things. He always went straight to the top. He'd be like sitting in in the defense secretary or like a director's office, just like hanging out when they showed up, and they're like, God damn it. Like, when this guy showed up, they're like, fuck.
Yeah, because it's like he was always seemingly, he had really good questions, and sometimes it seemed if he had really, really good sources, so he would be a constant thorn in some of these guys' thigh or thigh,
wherever,
side.
It's gonna be shitty either way.
Yeah, either way.
So the article, what they were most concerned about is not necessarily that it was publishing these. What the article made clear was that the Soviet land-based missiles were basically soft targets at this point, the Soviets hadn't really built a lot of underground missile bunkers. Like, they didn't have a bunch of the Nike missile sites that we had. They're buried way deep in the ground, basically hindering their ability to make if we were to strike first, we would have you would be able to potentially knock out a majority of their capability to make a second strike.
Right.
Now, the article showed a lot of this. It didn't say exactly how the United States government had gone about gathering the information, about how they had gotten it, but it did obviously draw on a lot of intelligence that was being gathered by the U.S. satellite program called Corona. Now, Corona was it was a satellite imaging thing. So they had just put these satellites up in 1960, and it's kind of funny because they put the satellites up after within months after Dwight Eisenhower had agreed not to send any more U-2s across the Soviet Union.
And they're like,
yeah, sure, no more U-2s, don't worry about it. It's like, we don't need them anymore.
Quick, two more.
Couple more. Don't tell anyone.
So the CIA actually was John F. Kennedy apparently had a habit or a kind of routine in the morning where as soon as he woke up, he would read all of the newspapers that were national publications all over the United States. So, Washington Post, New York Times, the Western publications and things like this. And then he would take that information and then he would ask all of his cabinet members, had they seen the stories that were within that had been published. Therefore, he would gauge the intelligence that they had. He would kind of base judgments, which I think is a pretty good thing. It's have you heard about this? And if they said no, then he'd be like, why the fuck haven't you heard about it? And it's in the Washington Post.
Makes sense.
Yeah, it's basically he's like, we should be ahead of all of this. We should be in front of all of this because this is coming from us.
Yeah, why is this information in the newspaper and you didn't know that it's in the newspaper, essentially? So at this time, John F. Kennedy's brother, Robert Kennedy, was also the Attorney General.
Why are we in the news again?
Why are we?
And I think it's been commented on by a couple of like historians and stuff where the Kennedy brothers apparently kind of had this relationship where it would be like if Jack got worked up about something, then he would call Robert over at the Justice Department, and essentially they would work each other up, and then Robert would be like, yeah, well, let's go fuck him up, that's whatever. That's kind of what they did, I suppose. And JFK asked Robert apparently to bring in the FBI to investigate where Baldwin was getting his information, because this was like somebody was, to him, he considered this like a dangerous leak. He felt like somebody's leaking information from our secret programs. We need to find out who it is. You need to lean on the FBI to tell them to go start investigating this shit. So that's kind of where they were coming from.
It was a matter of national security.
Right.
He's like,
And
what's
so
up?
in their minds.
I want Harry Baldwin's head on a platter.
And so, according to declassified documents, the director of Central Intelligence at the time, who was John McCone, ordered warrantless wiretaps on at least 2 reporters that they ended up doing. They sent out a lot of investigators before. It wasn't just like they figured out it was these 2. There was like months of investigation trying to question people, showing up at like reporters' offices and stuff, like FBI, basically your G-men showing up at all these offices and being like, why, we need to ask you a couple questions. Men in Black real type shit. And then they kind of zoomed in, or they kind of homed in on the 2 reporters who were Robert S. Allen and Paul Scott.
Wait, so they asked FBI to do this, but the CIA did it in the end?
Well, the FBI did most of like the legwork. Like the FBI went in and did the investigations and things like this, and then the CIA ended up.
Well, no, at a time. No, there came a time when the FBI is like, listen, there's lines we'll cross, and there's just some lines we won't cross. And the CIA's like live there, they're like, we'll cross. Over here, we'll cross.
Everybody knows if you have a 3-letter organization, you're good. Nothing can happen. You got diplomatic immunity. It's all good. Do whatever the fuck you want. It's evident.
So the FBI does the legwork. They're like, it might be these 2 guys in the CIA, but they're like, we're not going to tap their phones.
Yeah, but we're not going to tap their phones. Like, we're not going to do that.
We'll do it.
And the CIA was like, yeah, we'll do it.
Fuck it.
Yeah, fuck it. Yeah, we don't care. Want to do some? You want to do some DMT or some shit?
Yeah, you want to drop?
You want to come watch this guy? We're gonna drug him
before we do it.
We're gonna drug him and put him with a hooker. You want to come watch? We'll do the tap right after.
No. I don't think we gotta drug it. We don't have to drug them and put the hookers in. Just tap the phones.
Sure.
We're gonna do it anyways.
Pure LSD, man. Pure LSD.
It's not as fun, but I guess we could just tap the phones.
We said it like in the pre-show where we were talking. I said like the CIA in this time really kind of reminded me of that like a Wolf of Wall Street movie where it's like it was just it seemed like pandemonium.
Just like dropping acid and ripping coke and just being like,
I'm not fucking leaving. Gonna watch this guy bang this hooker on LSD.
Tap the phones! Tap the phones! Tap all the phones!
Wow! You know what my favorite part about that is though? It's like, yeah, we're gonna illegally tap these reporters' phones to find out what's going on. And then like, because when was this? When they initially did this? This is what, early 60s?
Yeah.
Yep.
63.
It wasn't until the 70s we're like, wait, why don't we do this to all the fucking organized crime mafioso motherfuckers and install RICO and bust all these fucking guys. Like, let's start with innocent reporters, and then we'll go against the worst criminals plaguing fucking America.
Yeah, start with the free press, but work our way up to criminal mobs in the future.
Well, man, the CIA at this time though was like, dude, they were big dick swinging because they basically had a blank check from the government. The Cold War was heated up, and their only rules were like for protect America from the Soviets. Like that's and
Yeah, that was their
everything-
prerogative, and that was do whatever it
everything-
takes. Like,
Who protects America from the CIA is what I want to know.
Hey, the Soviets.
nobody.
Yeah, nobody. It was wild. It's a wild time. They had almost no oversight at all. It was just like, hey, let's do it. No one said we could. Let's do it.
They were relatively new though, right? Like how long
I mean,
have
it
they
was
been around
almost like
for?
at this time. Yeah, they were relatively new, and also the fact that like the people running the CIA and a lot of like the defense, all the three-letter organizations, that they're all pretty much like they knew each other. They were all friends, or you had a lot that had went to the same universities together. And back in the U.S. at that time, I mean, that was kind of a big deal. Being alumni was pretty much like you could get away with anything if you were, hey, we went to school together, da da da. Like, oh yeah, but it's just that kind of that
So it makes sense,
camaraderie
like
that comes with that.
Or like the three-letter names of all these places, basically just like a big frat house.
Yeah,
The CIA, those fuckers at CIA, their togas.
and then plus like a lot of them had like served together during World War II, and so a lot of them were just it was just a big old boys club, and they just go out and like let's go have a 6 martini lunch and go fucking tap some phones, like.
Yeah, like, oh no, this is all billable. We're talking business.
Yeah, I wouldn't totally disagree with you on that. But now, the phone tapping didn't go exactly as planned. The CIA isn't as super sneaky as you would actually think. The CIA actually got outed, or they actually got their cover blown by one of the reporter's sons, who heard voices talking on the phone at one point in the evening. And one of the evenings, like, picked up the phone, heard voices, and he heard 2 agents discussing what was going on and what they were doing.
This is back like for switchboard and stuff, so they must have had to like clamp the line or something. They did.
Yeah, it's like there's like a van sitting outside the house, just like out there.
They climbed
Some
up
sweaty dudes.
They climbed up their tower up there and just clamped onto the line. They didn't quite do it right, and they're sending their voices into the house.
But I believe we have actual audio of that event. Is that correct? I think we do.
Yeah, it's right. It's
Can we
right
pull
here.
that up?
It's right here.
Hey Johnny, did you see the new episode of Batman yesterday? It was a gas.
Oh, golly, I missed it. My dad was bogarting the TV set, watching Horgan's Heroes. Show was a bummer.
Oh man, Hogan's Hero is such a drag. I hate that show. Keep it down.
Oh, yeah, but on the bright side, my parents got me the new Jimi Hendrix record for my birthday. Far Out.
Oh man, my parents refuse to listen to anything other than Elvis. Guy's a real downer.
God damn it, Jim! The kids, that's the goddamn king he's talking about. God damn it, Jim! You're gonna blow our cover. Keep it down. God damn it, Jim! It's just a couple of kids. It's a waste of our goddamn time.
Jim?
Go for Jim.
Who's Jim?
I'm Jim. God damn it! I know.
Did you hear that?
You're what?
That.
This?
Yeah, that.
What? God damn it, Jim! Our cover's blowing. God damn it, Jim! I got this. Housekeeping. Housekeeping. God damn it, Jim! Somebody get Dr. Sprinkle on the line. God damn it!
Exact recording.
Exact recording. Could you imagine? It's funny because like it was reported that like he told his mom, he told his parents, he's like, I fucking heard someone else on the line. I heard them, and his parents were like, what? Like,
You're crazy.
like you're crazy. And then like later when all these reports come out, like the mom goes back and is like, do you remember telling you that? And he's like, fucking told us so. Fucking told us so.
Mom, you told me it was because I fucking sit in front of the TV too close, but you're wrong.
Yeah.
You were fucking wrong. I hurt people. I fucking hurt.
It's crazy to think that this whole thing could have been blown up and like, found out way earlier on had people just given their kids the benefit of the doubt.
Yeah, I mean, come on. To be fair, think about when you were that age. You fucking
Dude, well, anyone could pick up the receiver in your house, and you could all you could talk to each other. So I don't know. So, you could have thought you left it off the hook, and
Yes.
picking up voices.
But here's the thing: if you and me, Zell, hold on, like if you called Dan on the phone, Zell, hypothetically, you called Dan on the telephone, and then you guys were chatting, and you heard, "God damn it, it's just the bottom tooth Urus." You'd be like, "Wait a minute."
I'm sounding the alarm right then and there.
Throwing some stones. but you know what I mean? But that's what that happened with these kids. It's like they started talking and they said, right? Someone on the line goes, "It's just a couple of kids." And you'd be like, "What?" That insinuates to me, like, if I was listening to this, it's like, it's a couple of idiots. I'd be like, "That's me. I'm an idiot. I'm the idiot here." So who's listening? Like, what the fuck? It's not like they just heard another conversation. They heard a conversation like specifically mentioning them, which is, to me, I'm like, it would be alarming. Like, I would right away be like, what the fuck? The phone's wrong. Something's wrong with the phone.
Yeah, I would agree. The moms didn't believe. If they did tell the parents, then they didn't believe them for a while.
No, I would have said something like that to my mom, and I would have got a shoe across the face.
Smack upside the
right
head.
across the room.
So that's Project Mockingbird, which is an actual thing, actually happened, actually documented, and that's the name that they use to refer to it.
Super illegal.
Now,
That's the
well,
worst
I
part.
mean, it's in a gray area. Like, now it's super illegal.
Dan, did you get hired by the CIA here?
Well, I'm saying back then, like we said, there was no oversight, there was no laws
CIA
against some of this
Dan.
stuff, and it was kind of like the jurisdiction of who was going to do this was kind of up in the air. It was a weird time. It was a weird time.
Yeah, but you know the worst part.
It's
about
legal
this
now.
The worst part about this shit, though, is it's that ammo. Because, we're getting these arguments where everybody's like, "Oh, vaccine passports, there's microchips, they're drugging you, they're doing all these things," and you're like, "Shut up, you're wrong. Read a fucking book." And they're like, "What about Mockingbird? What about MK Ultra?" And you're like, "I got nothing to say."
Yeah.
You're not wrong. You're not wrong.
So,
I got nothing to
But
say here.
here's the thing. So usually when they're talking about Mockingbird, this is what they're talking. They're not talking actually about that Project Mockingbird, which we just described and we went through. What most in the conspiracy world, when they mention Mockingbird or they refer to Operation Mockingbird, what they're actually talking about or they're referring to is an alleged large-scale project that's been undertaken by the CIA that began in the 1950s, or they believe began in the 1950s, in where the CIA went out to actively recruit American journalists into a huge global propaganda network.
Dan,
that they
oh
were-
my God,
That
hold on a
doesn't make
second.
sense.
Hold on a second.
America doesn't do propaganda. It's only the
Are
Russians.
you
and the
saying
Nazis.
that in the 50s the CIA was making fake news?
Allegedly.
I think
Allegedly.
admittedly.
Except for all the other reports from Family Jewels.
There is, I want to say, there are some distinguishing details that, I think have to be filled in. But this is what some authors, at least one author, kind of put out, was that these